Let's look for some of the assumptions or ideas which form the basis of semantics. The study of semantics becomes relevant and useful when we confront such odd sentences. For example, the burger ate the boy. It looks quite odd in meaning. We know it's syntactically correct. Grammatically, it's quite okay sentence. But when we try to figure out the meaning here, it's quite odd. So study of semantics becomes relevant here. In order to figure out and describe the meanings of a word in semantics, we could use certain symbols and signs as well. And this makes our semantic analysis quite easy. For example, we could add the symbol of plus with those things or ideas which are associated with the meaning of a word, and the symbol of minus with those ideas which are not included in the meaning of a word. If you look at your screens, you find a few words with the symbols of plus and minus. You find plus animate, minus animate, plus human, minus human, plus female, minus female. In order to elaborate their use, we could see the meanings of the word man. Man is, in order to define the meanings of man, we could say that man is plus animate, because a man is animate, is plus human, minus female, because a man cannot be female when we distinguish between man and woman. And these include some of the basic elements which are involved in the making of the meaning of a word. Let's now move to the assumptions of semantics. These assumptions are those ideas on which most of the theories of semantics are based on. And they provide a lot of scope for semantic investigation in the language. We begin with the concepts of sense and reference. Reference is actually based on the relationship of the words with the outside world. And we could see Palmer defines it as the relationship between the linguistic elements, words, sentences, and the non-linguistic world of experience. How we relate language with our actual experience in the world. And when we translate our experience into words, we use these references. Then John A. Saeed also reiterates the similar thoughts. For example, he says the relationship by which language looks onto the world. In comparison, sense is a kind of word-to-word relationship where we find meanings of the words within the words. And we could say it looks into the semantic links between elements within the vocabulary system of a language. We could see the example of the word dog. Dog is a mammal, is a domesticated mammal. It occurs in various breeds and has some size, color, and form. So we could describe all these features in order to convey the sense or various senses of the word dog. Overall, the meanings of the words emerge from two major sources. Number one, from the language to which they belong to, and number two, from the world to which they refer to. So overall, sense and reference both are considered to be important in order to make the meaning of a word or a sentence. The second important assumption in semantics is based on the concepts of utterance, sentence, and proposition. Utterance is created by speaking. It is probably speaking in a go. What you speak in a go may be called one utterance. An utterance may be composed of various sentences or might be composed of a single sentence. It is considered to be the most concrete level of language as compared to sentence or proposition. And it's higher. It's also considered to be less higher than sentence. Sentence is quite higher as compared to the utterance. Sentence is occurs when we add grammar to the proposition. So sentence may be defined as a grammatically correct form of the language which we usually use in formal writing. And a sentence may have one or more prepositions. For example, we have the example of I eat mangoes, or mangoes are eaten by me. These are two different sentences. One belongs to active voice, other belongs to passive voice. However, they carry one single proposition, that mangoes were eaten. These sentences are usually abstracted or generalized from utterances or real-life language use. Proposition is a purely abstract level, and it deals with the meaningful part of the language. Semanticists believe that some parts of language are irrelevant. For example, the forms of active voice or passive voice. As I told a while ago, that I ate mangoes or mangoes were eaten by me. The grammatical change of form is irrelevant because the portion of these two sentences which carries meaning remains the same. So proposition remains the same, and therefore this is considered to be the most abstract level of language because it consists of meaning. Another important proposition includes the difference between literal and non-literal meanings. Literal meanings are, roughly speaking, dictionary meanings which are used conventionally by the speakers of a language, and non-literal meanings are those which are developed additionally by some cultural aspects of language use. It consists of various figurative or metaphorical uses of the language and described by various metaphorical devices like metonymy, irony, and metaphors themselves. In the last, we'll talk about the difference between semantics and pragmatics. This is another assumption on which most of semantic knowledge is based on. Semantics deal with the transmission of meanings through language. It is basically language meaning. And pragmatics deals with the transmission of the meaning of language through its use. And in simple words, it could be called the meaning of the speaker.